Okay, Marty, you ready? Let's get rolling. Grab the camera. Not me, Marty, the car. Okay, Marty, perfect. All right, welcome back to DeLorean Corner. Thanks for joining. If you see my previous video, I did a comparison of the 1/6 scale Hot Toys DeLorean compared to an actual DeLorean, the same one that you see here. Now, this video is going to be the 1/8 scale Fanhome / Eaglemoss DeLorean. And just like the Hot Toys video, I'm going to compare mainly the differences in the car-to-car, not so much the Back to the Future components. Although in the Hot Toys version, I did look at the flux capacitor. In this one, we'll look at some Back to the Future components as well. This one is a lot more detailed than the Hot Toys version. It has a detailed engine compartment, so we'll look at that one in this video too. Now, I got this Eaglemoss DeLorean already built. I didn't go through the build process. I got this from Henry in Florida. Henry, if you're watching, thanks. The car made it, and Henry, he was a little nervous shipping this thing because, as you know, this car weighs a lot and it's very fragile. So what he did is he wrapped it in newspaper, and then he wrapped it in cellophane, and then he wrapped it in bubble wrap, and then he packed it in a Rubbermaid tote with newspaper. And then he packed that inside another large box. He did an excellent job. So well done, Henry. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, so we'll walk through this car and we'll look at the differences. This car is a lot more detailed than the Hot Toys version. So they did get a lot more accuracy in this model. But they do have some things that are off, and so we'll point those out to you. And then at the very end of the video, for those that are actually building this car, I'll give you a couple of pointers that some painted details maybe you can add to your model that would make it a little more accurate to an actual DeLorean. Okay, let's get started. Looking at the front of the car, actually the Hot Toys car looks pretty good on the front as well as the Eaglemoss. Just like the Hot Toys, I'm going to point out that my car is a 1982 DeLorean. The movie cars were 1981 DeLoreans, and the 1981 DeLoreans, they had these grooves cut or pressed into the hood. So you'll see two grooves in there. My hood doesn't have those. It's just a difference in the model years. Okay. The paint on the front fascia, it looks very close. It looks very close to the actual paint on the front fascia. One difference I'll point out though, they have like it's hard to see it, but you can see that screen down there, the bug deflector for the radiator. It's silver or stainless steel in the model. In reality, it's a black painted mesh. So if you wanted to paint yours black, it would be more accurate. Okay, we'll come over to the wheels. So the wheels, they're in the model. It's almost like a chrome. It's a darker chrome. In reality, it's kind of like a lighter silver color. My car is the wheel's dirty. It's got brake dust on it. A lot of patina. It's weathering effects that I put on here. You can do that with yours. I would say, yeah, another tip, just repaint. Man, I said I'd save this till the end, but I guess as I go through them, I'll just call them out as far as modeling tips. Definitely paint your wheels. I know other YouTubers, other modelers have mentioned that too. Let's check out the wheel diameters. We did this with Hot Toys. Their wheels are too big. So from the outside edge of the wheel to the outside edge of the chrome part of the wheel, 1.9 inches. Multiply that by 8, it's 1/8 scale model, you get 15.2. If I go outside of the rim to the outside of the rim, right at 15.2. You can see it's got this cut groove in a ring going around. And the Eaglemoss has that same feature. Let's measure the back wheel. The rim itself is right at 2 inches. And 2 times 8 is 16. We'll measure outside the rim to outside the rim. and we get about 16 and a quarter. So they are a little bit off on that back wheel. Let's take a look at the features of the door. The lenses, this forward lens, it's not focusing. It's hard to tell anyway, but it's an orange lens. On the side, they have a red lens, and on the back, they have a red lens. Those all illuminate, which is cool. But this side one should be orange, in the real car. Also, the strap. You can see the strap goes through the door handle, which is accurate. That's how it should be. The Hot Toys version is like a 1982 version of the car, which is what mine is. And in 1982, they relocated the strap from the handle to its own dedicated position right here. We'll look at the headliner. The Hot Toys, it's a lot similar to this one too. It's too wide and it's shallow. The actual car, it's more narrow and it's deeper. Also, the strut on the Eaglemoss is silver. It should be black. On the movie car, it's also black. So that's another tip. Paint it black and it'll be more accurate. Looking at the outside features of the door, I'll take this wedge out so we can close the door. The Hot Toys has a ratcheting mechanism to keep the door open. The Eaglemoss doesn't. So you have to use this little plastic block to wedge it in. Okay, so the side of the door, the Hot Toys, remember it had these lines running through it. Well, this is accurate. It doesn't have those lines. We'll look at the real car. You can see it doesn't have lines cut into the stainless. It should have a silver door lock with a black bezel. This one is a black lock with a black bezel. So go ahead and touch that up with some silver. Also, the A-pillar looks a lot more accurate to the car. If you remember, Hot Toys was more of a trapezoid. If you get yourself a small piece of plastic, boy, it'd have to be tiny. You could add this feature to your car. You can see the Eaglemoss doesn't have that. Okay, we'll take a look at the back, the tail lights here, and also the bumper. I have the model sitting here with the hood sloped, the wheel positioned in this area here, kind of breaks the wheel so it stops it from rolling. Otherwise, when I set it on the hood, it just kind of rolled with the slope. These wheels roll a lot better than the Hot Toys wheels do. Okay, the tail light. You can see the white, the red, the orange. If you remember on Hot Toys, it was all blacked out. That's exactly how the car looks. Also on Hot Toys, this piece on the bumper was painted a silver brushed stainless look. It's the dark gray, the same as the top of the fascia. And Eaglemoss got it right. Eaglemoss got the lettering on the DeLorean accurate. The lettering is recessed, and the box that it sets inside is also recessed. One thing to note, the stainless finish on the Eaglemoss is a little bit of a dirtier look. It's more of a bronzy compared to the stainless steel finish of the car. DeLorean Tech did a really good video comparing the two also, and that's something he had pointed out, and I've seen it in person, and it does show up on the camera too. The Hot Toys does have a more accurate looking color to the stainless. From this angle, it's a good side-by-side comparison of the seats. The Eaglemoss seats do look quite a bit different than the actual seats. The Eaglemoss version is a little more boxier looking. The actual seats in the car are more rounded. Model Mods has a real nice set of seats you can purchase. Also, you can see the seatbelt in the actual car there. It's on like a steel cable lanyard, and then it's got the bigger kind of a trapezoid looking plastic buckle receiver. The seatbelt that you get in the Eaglemoss looks almost like an airplane seatbelt. You can see it's just on a fabric. lanyard with the plastic end. So if you want to do something a little more detailed, I don't know, maybe get a piece of wire and carve yourself out of plastic, like the end of the receiver, paint it all black, except the button itself painted orange. You can see it there. Comparing the dashes, the Hot Toys was way off on the shape of their dash, also the placement of a glove box door. This is spot on accurate. You can see also the vent outlet there. Same on here. Another tip, paint yours black. That's how they come. You can see the glove box door. It comes right to the edge of this upholstered knee pad. And that's the exact same on the Eaglemoss. Also on your model, go ahead and paint the latch itself black. That's how it is in the actual car. You can see the speaker grill there. And it only has it on the passenger side. There's nothing on the driver's side. The actual car, it's both. You can see it over there. You can see it over here. The shift boot is more accurate than the Hot Toys, but for some reason, Eaglemoss, it doesn't go all the way up to the shifter knob. There's like a space there, a gap. And the actual car, the shift boot, goes all the way up. The detail of this car really is pretty incredible. You can see the climate controls there. Also the hazard switch. I'll zoom in. And that's all accurate. The steering wheel, to me, it looked a little off. So I measured it. The diameter is correct. The overall larger diameter of the wheel. It's the diameter of the wheel grip itself. On this model, it measures 0.125, and times that by 8, you get 1 inch. I measured the wheel on my car, and it's an inch and an eighth, which you wouldn't think would be a big deal, but the actual steering wheel looks thicker than the Eaglemoss. Yeah, that's true. It is. I won't get too close in this instrument cluster. Just know it's accurate. The Hot Toys, it had these extra rectangles, like 4 boxes, kind of drawn on the instrument cluster on the left-hand side and 4 on the right-hand side. And in the real car, those aren't there. But anyway, just wanted to make that comparison since I did it with the Hot Toys. A real obscure detail here, but in the car, they put a speaker back here in the Eaglemoss car. And in a DeLorean, that's where the battery sits. So you can't do that unless you relocate the battery. I don't know, maybe they did. You can see that. So with the battery there, you're not going to set a speaker there. Behind the driver's seat on the Eaglemoss, they also show a speaker there. And that's something that some DeLorean owners do because it's a storage cubby in real life. And how often are you going to use that storage cubby? And the speakers in the car weren't that great. So you can see I put a subwoofer here. It's on the Eaglemoss car. I don't know necessarily that it's on the A car. We'll take a look inside the front. And here is how your front is supposed to look. Eaglemoss did a great job putting the light up there. That's accurate. Eaglemoss has the struts. Although theirs are all silver. So just paint the main body of your struts black and you'll be accurate. Underneath here is the spare tire. That brace is aftermarket, so that's not part of a factory original DeLorean. But the wheel is an original wheel and Goodyear spare tire on there. But you can see it doesn't match the other 4 wheels on the car. It's a space saver. And the Eaglemoss, they just used one of their front wheels for that. They included the strap that goes over it, so that's good. But I don't know if you want to 3D print a different part, if you're building this model, to get a more accurate wheel, or even if you care. I mean, in the movie, do you ever really see the inside? I know he puts like a suitcase in there at one point, but I don't know that you really see any details of it. Modeler's pro tip number 12, this little tab here, paint that black, and then you can get it to blend in to the rest of the gapping. Okay, boy, that was a struggle to get that open. There's a little spring-loaded latch right here. And trying to get your fingers to grab onto this and pull up, that's difficult. If you guys know any tips about that, feel free to leave them in the comments. Okay, so here's the engine compartment. And I don't know how best to show you side by side because I don't want to set this on the motor. Boy, just know it's accurate, I guess. And I'll show you. Looks the same, right? And the Eaglemoss, it's a kind of a plastic looking reservoir. And that's true. This is aftermarket. There's also like a silver tubing that initially came off of, so this is aftermarket too, but there was like in the model, there's a tube that kind of comes up and around and goes down there. Just not on this car. Even your decals. So all that stuff's pretty accurate. Here's how the lights look. You can see Eaglemoss, they light up all 4 lights. In reality, it's just your outside beams that are the low beams, the middle beams are the high beams. But they got the warm color right. Hot Toys, it's blue light. So these look really accurate. Even the marker lights. Those look good. Let's check out the back. It would just be nice to only have the rear lights, not the turn signals, and not the backup lights. You can see on the real car, it's just that center section there that lights up. And I do have the center section, so that's good. There's other lighting mods in here, model mods. Their flux capacitor, and also their SID. I'll show you the flux bands. That's also for model mods. It's a really nice looking car. And speaking of lights, you can see the amber forward light on the door, the red side light, and the red back light. The side light needs to be orange. I'll talk about 2 Back to the Future components on the model. The first one being the time circuits. From this view in this book, this is the DeLorean Time Machine Owner's Workshop Manual. And the guys who restored the A car wrote this book along with Bob Gale. So I'd say it's pretty accurate. If you look at the time circuits, they're tilted a little bit towards the driver. They're not like squared up. If you look at the Eaglemoss version, you can see it's just it's a rectangular box that's straight with the center console, and it needs to be tilted a little bit towards the driver, rotated towards the driver. See the side there? It's flat. Now I have a reproduction one that I just put in the car here just to show you. You can see the side, it's not flat. It's got a couple of bends in it. And if you look straight on at it, it's angled towards the driver. I don't know if anybody's making mods to the Eaglemoss DeLorean for a new time circuit box. You could still use the light up display that you have that comes with the model kit. But if you can create a new enclosure, I don't know, I thought about maybe maybe using a thin cardboard and then putting aluminum foil tape on the outside of it. That actual enclosure is 1/8 inch thick aluminum. So if you scale that down, that's about it's a thin cardboard that you could use. I'm not sure how they came to making that, how they decided on just going with a straight enclosure. I had heard that possibly Eaglemoss had taken dimensions off of a replica car. And if that's the case, and it's not because of manufacturing cost reasons, and maybe that's really the reason, I'm not sure, but it just kind of shows you some of the issues with these model companies using replica cars as their base and not just going straight to the source, the A car from the Peterson Museum. Just 2 more images out of that book. To me, it's clear. You can tell in this view, it's angled towards the driver. And this view, you can see the bends in the metal enclosure to allow for that angle. Let's talk about the flux capacitor. This flux capacitor is the one you get with the model. And the one in my car is an aftermarket one from Model Mods. So this was not installed. I also want to show, just since I have all the build sheets here, here's the time circuit display. And you can see that it's a rectangle and it's not angled towards the driver. All right, so back to the flux capacitor. When you get the model, this really is all you get. You don't get any spark plug wires, and the light itself is just through this single hole. And it just glows, so it doesn't have any animation to it. And we'll compare it to the dimensions listed from the A car, 11 inch by 13 inch by 5 inch for the enclosure case. So let's go with the smallest number, the 5 inch. This comes out to 0.45. .6 inches. So we're well short of that 5 inch thickness. Let's look at the width. Comes out to 1.26. Just over 10 inches. And you can see it should be 11 inches. So it is skinnier. Let's look at the overall heights. 1.61. .88, and it needs to be 13. So the height is pretty close, but the width is skinnier and the overall thickness is thinner. And visually, you can tell it looks more like a skinnier flux capacitor than the actual one. Okay, that'll wrap up this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Tune into the channel. I'll just keep putting out more DeLorean content if that's the kind of thing you're into. Also, I'm thinking about doing some more mods to this car. And if you're interested in seeing some of those, I'll look at filming some of those. There is a lot out there on YouTube. A lot of modelers are filming themselves doing their purchase mods. But if I create something, if I make something, I think I'll create a video for that. All right, well, that'll do it. All right. Cut, Marty.